one in TIR. You need to connect with your emotions. The why exercise that I gave you yesterday. You can go to my website. Get connected with your why, your purpose, your focus. Make sure it's emotional. Make sure it's not too logical. Make sure it's practical. Make sure it's for you. Do this. It's going to be weird. It's going to be hard. Connect with yourself. Be emotional in whatever way you need to do, Rick. Everyone, get emotional. That was one of the most fascinating things about yesterday. Is that I was watching people uncomfortable with going to an emotional place, so they were avoiding doing what I was asking them to do. Not everyone, but some people struggle with it more, some people struggle with it less. That's okay. That's okay. But in order to connect, like Simon Sinek says, in order to connect, this doesn't only work for other people, for yourself, you need to connect your why with your how and your what. Those need to be connected for you. So number one, connect with your emotions. Do not move forward until you connect with your emotions, at least on some level. You don't have to have this perfect. In a few months, you'll do the why exercise again. In a year, you'll do the why exercise again. In a couple years, you'll do the why, and you'll get more out of it every time, and it'll drive it even deeper. But start. Get there a little bit. Secondly, start influencing yourself. So once you get your emotional brain and your thinking brain connected, and you go, this is what I'm doing, but it starts with why I'm doing it. Once those are connected, once you had the conversation and said, okay, so what's the fear about? Tell me about it. And there's connection, and you go, okay, so how do we work together to accomplish our goals? And there's agreement there. As soon as that happens, then the diagram switches, and you have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Okay? It switches, and then what you can start to do is drive ideas, things that you want. Okay, logically, the things that you go, well, yeah, like a business suits my needs, or changing how I think, changing my belief system will help me. Thinking about those things all the time will be driven down into your subconscious mind. And once your subconscious mind is influenced by you, instead of outside forces, instead of people around you, as soon as you're fully engaged with you and what you want, and in how to think in a way that you want to think, what will start to happen is the actions will start to change. That's when you start to get the habit. That's when you start to get the patterns. That's when you start to take action on the things you need to take action on. So yeah, I've got a client right now, and he says, Mark, I hate cold calling. How do I do this? And I said, I want you to forget about cold calling. I want you to focus on what you want. He's like, but that's what I need help with. I said, no. You need help connecting to your why. He's connected with his why over the last week. Guess what he started automatically doing? Cold calling. Because that's the how. The how comes after the why. Always after the why. I'll give you another example. It slipped my mind here. I was talking about him cold calling, having to do something. It'll come back. I'll keep going with this, it'll come back. So connect with your emotions, then start influencing yourself. This is a one-time event where you connect with your emotions, but then you do it over and over and over and over. And as you connect with yourself in those emotional situations, the thing that drives you in the morning, what will start to happen is it will start to lengthen periods of time where you actually want to get out of bed in the morning. You're driven to do that. So that's how you're starting to influence yourself. But if you really want to speed it up again, and this is the third part, is you need to learn to connect your actions with your beliefs. So consistently draw the connection for yourself between, oh, I've got something that's motivating me, I'm going to take action right now. Within 3 to 5 minutes is the ideal time. If you take more than 5 or 10 minutes before you act on something that you're thinking on, you are developing a pattern of procrastination.
Say that again?
As soon as you take more than a few minutes, sometimes even a few seconds, to act on the thing that you're thinking of doing, you are developing a habit of procrastination instead of a habit of action. Okay? I remember the example that I was going to give before. Exercise. Exercise is one of those things that I hear about every day in our culture. It's good to exercise. Everyone believes that. I talk about people's goals. I asked some of you about your goals, and I hear exercise, 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 okay? Losing weight, health, whatever it is. I hear that all the time. From almost everyone. I believe like a high percentage in our culture want that. What are the connotations for you when I use this word? The discipline of getting up in the morning and exercising. When I use that phrase, what are the emotions attached to that?
Yeah.
Is there, Brad, you're a bit different. You've developed this pattern, right? What is it excitement or the opposite? Yeah.
It's the opposite, but if it was hockey at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'll be there in a heartbeat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, World Juniors. I remember my dad and I waking up, as a teenager when I wanted to sleep in, waking up at any hour to watch the World Junior Championship. No matter what country it's in, right?
His son wakes up at like 2 a.m. to watch F1.
Yeah.
Because the races are all over the world.
Yeah.
He'll get up whenever.
Yeah.
Because he likes car racing.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So it's because the experience you've attached is to enjoyment. Whereas the answer to discipline of waking up in the morning and exercising, the connotation for that for you, the emotion for that for you, is frustration, of anger. I'll hold off for just a second, okay? Rick, hold the thought, please. What you need to do, if you want to develop the discipline of exercise, what you need to do is forget about exercising in the morning. Don't make that the focus. That's the how. What you need to make the focus is write out a description. So this is a skill that I'm teaching. Write out a vivid, detailed description of how you feel at the weight that you weigh, your ideal weight, doing things with your kids or your family or your friends or your grandkids or around the world or whatever, at the age of like 85 or something, right? Of living healthy. Basically what I'm saying is develop your goal, develop your dream. Add emotion into it. Add vivid detail. Talk about what you taste, what you see, what you smell, what you touch, what you hear. Develop that. Because what you're doing is you're driving the idea down into your subconscious mind. And you're attaching fantastic connotation to the end result. And as you live there, day after day after day, as you focus on that, guess what you're going to automatically start doing a little more often? You're going to automatically start waking up and exercising. I'm serious. I've seen this in my own life. I told people often, I hate exercise, I hate exercise, I hate exercise. Well, when I said that, what was I doing? I was driving the idea down into my subconscious mind, the thing that will motivate me, the strongest motivator in my life. I'm driving down the idea that this is not something that is enjoyable. It's not pleasure. It's not in my best interest. And the more I do that, the less I want to exercise in the morning. The example that I gave with this other client was, think about a woman who's getting married in 6 months and wants to lose like 10 or 15 pounds to fit into her ideal wedding dress and stand in front of the audience. Okay? That person has a completely different motivation than the average person that just wants to exercise. Right? She's got this vivid picture with all this emotion attached. And that's why so many women are great at losing weight just before their wedding day. It's not good or bad. They're unconsciously using their mind to help them with that. What I'm saying, what I'm trying to teach you over this year what I will teach you this year is you need to do this for yourself. Develop a skill set. If you want something and you find there's an obstacle, learn to want it. Learn to drive motivation, because you can teach yourself motivation so that you will get up every single morning and do the things you want to do, or whatever it is. Okay? Now, there's another aspect to this, and that is failure. We've got to talk about failure again. Failure is going to happen lots in the next year. There are a few ways to view failure. One is it shows you your current limitations. One is it shows you that you're growing in some way. If you are not growing, you will not be failing very often. You won't. I remember my dad telling me we went to July every summer to Kelowna to water ski. Basically, we were on the beach and we had a boat and we just water skied all month every July when I was growing up. And I remember, I don't remember who told me. I think it was my dad. Told me, Mark, if you want to, I would be struggling with a skill. Like on my wakeboard, jumping over the wake or something, or doing a flip or something. And my dad would say, Mark, what I want you to do is try something even more difficult than that. And so I would try something even more difficult and I would fail at it. And yet I found that the next day, if I went back to the other one that I was working on, the easier one, I all of a sudden would get it. Because I was failing at something even more difficult. But I was growing myself. I was learning. My body was learning how to move on the water. Barefoot water skiing. So this is one of my favorite stories. Barefoot water skiing. One summer I set the goal, I'm going to barefoot water ski by the end of this month. Okay, now, keep in mind that when you set an intention and set a date to it, sometimes it will slow you down. I set the goal of by the end of these 30 days, I want to barefoot water ski. Guess what? I failed for 29 days. On the 30th day, I got up. My brother set the intention of just getting up. The next year, he just watched me through that failure over and over and over and over. The next year, he got up on his first try. That's unheard of with barefoot water skiing. To get up on a long rope on your first try. He did it. He was just learning from my mistakes. But I love that story because for me, I failed over and over and over and over again, and yet I learned and I did it. And I'm a fail myself to success kind of guy. That's how I learn. This is another way I want you to think about failure. It takes the average person 7 times, 7 attempts, and 7 failures to change a certain pattern in their life. So this can be applied, this is kind of like the 80-20 rule. This is applied to change. And it's a general principle. So there are some people who learn after 2 times. There are some people who need 30 times. But the average is about 7 times.
To change what?
A behavior, a pattern. This is why. You need to experience failure and understand that what you're moving from is not all that good. So, the example I use with this is gluten. I don't eat gluten, generally speaking. I've discovered in the last 8 years that I'm gluten intolerant. I have a reaction to gluten. I don't die or anything, but I have a reaction to gluten, okay? Little bits don't seem to make a big difference. Yeah, but if I have a meal of gluten, I'm going to be feeling it and experiencing it for a few days, sometimes a week, okay? I won't go into the details of that. But when I learned about, I think it was about 7 years ago, sorry, that I came to the realization that I'm gluten intolerant. I have this reaction. My wife told me, you've got to stop eating gluten, Mark. Did I agree with her? Yes. My conscious brain said, gluten is not good for me. What did my subconscious brain say every time I saw a bagel or a pizza? I need this. This brings me happiness and joy. There's a chewiness of Boston pizza crust that I love and the taste. Okay? So there was a problem. The problem was my conscious brain wanted one thing, my subconscious brain wanted another thing. So what did I do? I attempted to get off of gluten, to stop eating gluten. By the way, I've had far more than 7 failures with this, okay? I've far more than 7 failures. But this is the value of failure in my life. Is that every time I fail, so this is how it works. Every once in a while, I've been really good with gluten for a few months or whatever, and I'll go to a TR event or whatever, and there's something there, and I'm like, it's different. The logic starts justifying what I want, right? This is how it always works. Wants will always win out. So my mind goes, it's different. I'm away from home. It's not normal. I can do this once. And it's really good. Look at that. Look at that flakiness of that pastry, or look at that whatever, okay? This is the value of failure. Are you ready for it? When I eat that thing, every time I relapse, and I eat something that I don't want to eat, that's not good for me, there's a process in my brain that goes, this isn't as good. This doesn't taste as good as I thought. This doesn't taste as good. This experience isn't what I've been building it up in my mind to be. And so what I'm doing there is slowly, over time, this part of my brain, through the failures, is realizing, oh, I don't love this. This isn't wonderful. I'm not missing out on life if I don't have it. This isn't joy and exhilaration. And every time you fail, you're making that connection stronger and stronger and stronger. So I want you to start viewing failure as success. Because actually that's how we learn. That's another aspect of how we learn, making those connections. And if it happens a number of times, the connection gets stronger. So I haven't eaten any gluten this week. I haven't even come close to eating gluten. I haven't been tempted by gluten this week. That's great. What that means is that I failed enough. Does this make any sense? Mm-hmm. This is a really important point, because over the next year, there are going to be times where you're frustrated and you go, Mark, I'm failing and I feel horrible, and all these shame stuff and my self-image stuff and all this other stuff is coming up. What I'm going to tell you in that moment is something like this. Great. You're failing. This is exactly where you want to be. You're doing the right things. You're working towards your goals right now. The way you're feeling right now is you're remembering, I don't like not achieving. I don't like not having money. I don't like not having freedom. I don't like not having connection with people. I don't like... You're reminding yourself of those things. And then you'll have motivation to move forward again. Any questions about this? Or what questions do you have about this? I'll ask it a different way.
So is it, I've heard this a few times,
Yeah.
it's become habitual, so to speak.
Yeah.
You're gonna do something 21 days straight.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that false? Is that just, everybody's different?
Yeah, so you'll hear different time frames on habits. I've done some research into habit development, and sometimes you hear 21 days, sometimes you hear 14 days, sometimes you hear 3 months, sometimes you hear 6 months, sometimes
7 years.
sometimes it's 7 years, or sometimes it's 7 failures. So you'll hear all these numbers, okay? This is what I believe I've learned in that process, because I've looked at it and tried to find research for it, and most of those ideas they're not based in research, they're based on a number that someone said once. This is what I've found. It has nothing to do with the time period. It has to do with the emotional connection. You remember the chart that I gave last time?
Would it be fair to say it has more to do with the commitment, which is directly tied to the emotional?
Yes. So the motivation, that commitment, it's all about your motivation and commitment. But motivation isn't something you're born with or not born with. We all have it in us, and we can develop it. And the way you develop it is connecting with your emotions. So habits are here. And people are working hard for 21 days. That's not what needs to happen. What needs to happen is you change what you believe, and your emotional connection to what you believe. And you will start working towards it. Now, sometimes it depends on the emotional connection beforehand, or your history, or your experiences. Sometimes it'll take 5 minutes. Sometimes it'll take 7 years. It depends. It also depends on how much you're reminding yourself of these things. If you work at this, if you do what I told you to do, so here, I practice what I preach. So I wrote this again yesterday, okay? Last night. Do you know how I feel after I write this? It was 12:30 last night when I finished this. And I was tired, and I didn't want to do it. But I know that it's intimately connected with getting what I want out of life. I've made that connection over a period of time. So I wrote it out. And I did it well. I took my time. Actually, it was neater writing than usual. And I was thinking about you guys too. And I was going, if I'm not willing to do this, how can I talk about it? So I did it. It took me I timed it. I said, I think it took me 20 minutes, so I'm timing it this time. I timed it. It took me 25 minutes, okay? But I did it. Do you know how I felt after that? I felt incredible. Usually, doing the thing that we don't want to do, as soon as we're done doing it, we get this rush. We get this high that takes us through the next 2-3 days. It's a momentum builder. So do what I'm going to tell you to do, okay? Take this exercise. Don't wait a week to do this. Don't wait a week to do this. I realize this weekend is a short amount of time to get all this stuff done. Connect with your why. Number one, if you only get 2 things from this weekend, connect with your why and write out a vivid, detailed description of your goal. If those are the only 2 things, so those are the 2 most important things, okay? And then take action. Write it out every night. 20, 25 minutes, half an hour or 5 minutes, whatever it takes, do it. And this is the connotation, this is the connection that you need to make in your brain for taking time to invest in yourself in the evening. Consider it an investment. If somebody told you in the evening, if you take 25 minutes to do something every day, I will give you a 1,000% return on the money and time that you're investing in that. Would you do it? Probably. This is not a 1,000% return that you're going to get from this. It's like millions of percentages of return. If you ask people that are, so Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, they were asked, if you could have any superpower, what would you choose? Guess what they chose? Speed reading. I would learn. I would grow. Every person who is extremely successful has made a connection between growth and investing in themselves. And doing things, sometimes, doing the things that failures refuse to do. They connect to the results instead of the methods. Wayne Gretzky, if you look at the great athletes, look at Wayne Gretzky, look at Michael Jordan. They're not the best athletes in their sport. They're the legends of their sport, but they were not the best athletes. Wayne Gretzky was not a good athlete, really, on many levels, right? And he admits it openly. People talk about him all the time. Bobby Orr was the best athlete. Wayne Gretzky was not. They talk about other guys who were the best athletes, right? Michael Jordan, give me a break. He was not the best athlete on the court. And yet he was driven. He got the motivation thing. And as soon as you connect with motivation, the return on your investment will be a billionfold. I don't even know what that number is, as we talked about yesterday, okay? It's a big number. It's bigger than we can imagine. Invest in yourselves. Convince yourself. Spend time with other people who believe in this, and they encourage you and remind you. Come to the calls every Monday evening, okay? Read the book throughout the week. Stay connected with this. Anything else right now? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question. It's more kind of, because I can't get it. Do you have PVR at your house? So, my brother does this too with the World Cup. Why is he setting it up at 2 in the morning instead of taping it?
I've asked him the same question,
Yeah.
and he said it's not the same.
Yeah, my
Not
brother
the
says
same
that too.
experience.
To me, I just tape it and watch it when I can.
Yeah, and fast forward to the commercials.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me why he does that. But.
Yeah. My brother's the same. He's got to watch it live, especially if it's a work day and he hears something that ruins it. So
Yeah.
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 But I don't understand it.
Yeah. So it's absolutely emotional. The connection is I'm experiencing this as this community that is there is experiencing it.
Yeah.
I have a different connection to this event.
So it's 11:07.
Mm-hmm.
Lunch will be coming at 12 o'clock today, so people have been getting up and down a little bit, which is great. Keep doing that, but for those who haven't gotten up, they may need a break.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can speak on behalf of the whole group. I think we'd appreciate a little bit more energy from them, more passion.
Yeah, Martin. Crank it up a notch.
That's actually that's an area. That's an area I'm working on. Okay? I'll write it out tonight.
I thought you should just tell me that.
Doesn't feel like 2 hours straight to you.
That's true. So take a break. And you know what? When you come back, I'm going to organize some thoughts because I want to give you something to do just before lunch. Okay, specifically. So yeah.